Howdy.
Howdy. Okay, so we can start the AMA, I guess.
Yeah, hello.
Wonderful. Before,
Thank you for coming.
for one, I am delighted to be here. To those of you who are
Yeah.
interested, I'm streaming this, so just so you all know, this is recorded for posterity. But really quickly, before we get started, I'd just like to say, for one, thank you, Bean Salad, very much for the subscription, and for two, out of respect for the sanctity of this AMA, I won't be responded to no donations or Twitch subs for its duration. So if you want to hold off, that's entirely your prerogative. I love you all very much. And with that, I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, so to be fair, let's start with the person who asked the first question.
Oh, you can unmute them when they if the person's here that asked the
No,
question, you can
the
unmute them when they
Harvey's not
can.
here. The Harvey isn't here, so I'll ask it for him. Okay, do you support the IRA?
Principally, my main beef with the IRA is the fact that their principal motivation for doing what they do is framed under a guise of nationalism, the idea of a unified Ireland. I don't really care very much about Ireland as a concept, north, south, or otherwise. What I care about is the well-being of the people who live within those borders. Sometimes I feel as though they work to effectively advocate for the interests of the Irish, particularly those in the southern portion of the Isle. But very often I feel as though their pretenses towards revolutionary motive are just a smokescreen for nationalistic fervor, which I am not a tremendous fan of.
Okay. Also, do your viewers know the Discord server, because they're free to join in and ask the questions too?
Oh, yeah, please. They can hear you just fine. Let them know.
Okay. Oh, well, it's a Red Squadron. That is the name of the Discord server, and I will. Do you want me to post the Discord.gg?
Yeah, we're just
Yes.
we're just like a new leftist server. We just wanted to make a server where all like leftists were welcome to talk about leftist ideology.
I love leftism. Toss me the invite to this server, and I will post it both in my stream chat and in my Discord. If that's
Okay.
what you'd like, of course.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
man. I want your fans to get in on this asking you anything as well.
I love
We
being
got-
asked things.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Are you Okay. Getting server muted.
Just let me know when you've posted the invite link.
Oh, I messaged you it.
Message me.
Yeah. Or if I did not, I will message you again, I guess.
Yeah. I would like to see that.
Copy. Here you go.
There we go, my comrade.
I think I sent it to some offline person. My bad.
Oh, no worries. There you go. To those of you interested, there it is right there in the stream chat. To those of you who aren't listening to me and there is no reason for me to speak to you out loud like this, here you go in the Discord. All right, we should be set.
Cool.
All right.
Okay, next question. Who they're actually here. Merwa. Do you want to ask your question? Okay.
I think we should read the questions.
I can say it. Okay. Well, he wants me to say it.
The left splits again.
Yeah, the left splits again, man. What is your opinion on the revolution in northern Syria?
Okay. Ooh. Are you ready for my hottest take yet? Okay.
Give it to me.
Listen. Fuck Assad. I am that. There we go. He said it. Look, okay. I'm gonna be real with you. The Syrian Civil War is one of the most insanely complicated political and social topics that I haven't dug all the way into. Are you fucking kidding me? I've only got so much time in my day. That is a complicated topic. But by and large, what I have seen is an antagonism, a schism between forces which, for the Syrian Democratic Forces, which are for the most part fine, but it's tetchy, you know, because they're backed by the U.S. and Western powers, and, you know, fuck America. So where are we going with this, right? And then you've got Assad, who, I'm throw this out there sort of gently, a monster, but he combats U.S. imperialism. I have no respect for authoritarians, and I know he was elected democratically. I have no respect for anti-imperialism being used as a guise to excuse unethical behavior as a leader. It really fucking bugs me when people are like, oh yeah, you don't support fucking North Korea and their fight against American imperialism? Fucking the left gets split again. Oh, you didn't support fucking shit like that. It really fucking bugs me, guys. America is shit, like really bad. Like on a foreign level, the imperialism we engage in, we ruin millions of lives. But believe you me, we're not as bad as it can get. If there some of the other fucks out there, believe me, if Assad was the one in control of a global imperialist empire, it would be worse than it is right now. I do not support the advocacy for these people just because their material interests oppose the imperialistic interests of the United States. That shit triggers me to fucking hell and back. I hate that shit.
How do you really feel? Okay. DFed. He's probably gonna ask this question. Let's see this. I'm saving him.
I'm ready. I'm popping.
Yes.
Oh, hey, can you hear me? Sorry about to show you my quality.
It's okay.
So, I'm a bit of like an economics major nerd. Do you have any opinions on monetary theories, or do you believe in a moneyless society?
Oh fuck. Oh no fucking softball here today. Let's just get my opinion on every fucking controversial. Okay. In terms of monetary theories, I am open to being convinced one way or another. I don't really believe in a moneyless society broadly. Because how do I say this? Okay, listen, these are not opinions I hold strongly. These are my beliefs presently, but as we conduct theory, it is important to maintain an open mind. I could be convinced off these points, but broadly speaking, I do believe that a system by which people are... I believe a system of compensation whereby doing social good is rewarded with the ability to further personal material interests. I feel like that might generally be a good thing. Guys, you fucking idiot. I said I won't respond to fucking donations and subs during the podcast. You cucks. Shut up. Sorry.
Left once again.
These fucking cucks. You in chat, call that out in the future. I love you. Okay. I lost it all. No, I'm back. Okay. It's a super complicated topic, and I could be convinced off these points, but broadly speaking, I feel like there is social gain towards an incentive which encourages people to participate in society, and the only way you can systematize an incentive is by making it material. I'm all for social incentives, but you can't make those systemic. Like, you can't have like, oh, you did good, you get +1 friend. That's ridiculous. Monetary value is the means by which we can systemize a system of rewards. So I feel like it's useful in that respect. In regards to monetary theories, I remember somebody, I don't know if this was you specifically or if it was somebody else, but somebody asked about the monetary theory of power, and I hadn't heard about it before. So in the few hours that I had between reading that and this
Question I was about to ask.
No, yeah, go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you haven't read, so I just was wondering if you had any opinions on power theory versus labor theory.
Yeah, I hadn't heard about it before, so I took the time to research it leading up to this, and I found myself being largely convinced by the theory that went into it. I mean, you can't separate economic and political power. The two are intrinsic. Economic power dictates the allocation of material resources, and material resources, which enable the capacity for violence, are the cornerstone of power. To separate the two is madness. with that being said, I do advocate for the implementation of these theories being regarded not as a holistic way of describing the objective value of something, but rather as a lens of analyses through which we can analyze the power relations in society. I think that the purported power theory of economics or or power theory of value, power theory of value, I feel as though it has tremendous value as a lens of analysis. I would need to do more research before I felt comfortable implementing it in a more holistic sense, in a descriptive sense, so to speak.
All right. Thank you.
That was wait, do I sound smart? I'm trying. We got some smarties on here. I'm just
Hey man, I
trying
didn't know what you guys were talking about for there. So
I mean, hey, if you want me to send you like some like research papers on inflation, I can.
yeah, please. There's no guarantee I'll read it. That's not I'm very lazy. But if I were a good person, I would accept the opportunity, and I would love it if you sent me some of those.
Okay, thank you, D-Fed.
Thank you.
Cool. So
Yeah.
my question is, what are your general thoughts on insurrectionary anarchism?
Instructionary anarchism. Was it
Insurrectionary.
Insurrectionary. Right. I do not have a tremendous amount of faith in anarchy conceptually and anarchism without there being some transitionary period of statehood. I do not think that anarchism could arise, a healthy anarchist state, of course. I do not think that one could arise reliably without a through revolution. I think that it would need to be a product of a transitionary period between socialism and itself. This is not, mind you, because I purport the old tanky myth that anarchists are not capable of fighting, or that they're so divisive amongst each other that once they're finished seizing the capital, they don't really know what to do next. I'm not repeating that tanky nonsense, only that it seems to me, as one would with communism, real communism, a stateless, classless, moneyless society, that the idealization of these political virtues, of these social goals, that to implement them is to accept many risks, many opportunities for subversion from within, from without. And I feel as though a healthy anarchist society would be too fragile initially to survive the post-revolutionary sort of turmoil that what might emerge after the overthrow of a capitalist state. Now, down the road, maybe sort of like a soft revolution or a soft insurrectionary approach towards anarchism, when we're reaching like late stage socialism, I think that might work pretty well. But in the immediate sense, I would advocate against such a thing, personally.
Okay, that's sufficient enough for me.
All right, I did good enough. All right, you can't see it, but I'm dabbing right now for the audience.
Oh, I can. I'm watching your stream.
Okay, then you saw it. It was a good dab, and it shows respect. Thank you.
Okay. This one's a long one, so forgive me if I stutter. But he's not here, so he's really shafting me. What importance do you think optics plays in the accomplishment of political goals? And more specifically, do you think openly calling for violence against capitalists while many are listening may be bad for convincing people of your ideals?
I think it's bad. Listen, I am not a tremendous fan of respectability politics, okay? Fascists deserve no respect. But invariably, just in terms of numbers, it's necessary to capitulate to the interests of moderates. Even if you're a full-on fucking revolutionary, even if you're a full-blown fucking like, yeah, libs get the bullet too kind of guy, you can't reliably ensure the kind of public appeal that would be necessary for a populist uprising without some degree of conciliatory, some degree of conciliatory language. And this is something that I have learned. Okay, look, you all, we know that I have been on like Destiny's stream before, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know Slumlord Dan?
I've heard of
No,
him.
I don't think so. I don't think I've heard of that.
He's a multimillionaire, like, landowning. He's a fucking piece of shit. He's like a rich dude. He's Jewish, and everyone makes jokes that if you criticize him for being a capitalist, you're being anti-Semitic. Hardy har. Dan, we call him Slumlord Dan because he's a slumlord. He's like
Wait, didn't he create a podcast with Destiny, like tech startups?
Yes, he did. The startup
Oh,
podcast.
that
And they talked about
Oh.
that senator in the incumbent senator who ended up dropping his campaign after getting slammed on by Destiny.
He got
Great
bodied.
Great praxis. But I think Dan is a hot piece of shit. Like, just a big steamy, just everything he advocates for just seems like a worse world. Like, he unironically builds his ethical system off of what will make him the most money. He is the stereotype of, like, the greedy landowning capitalist who's, like, liberal in the sense that he's, like, fine with weed and gay people, but in every material sense, he stands as an obstacle to every good thing in society. He is the barricade. I fucking hate Dan, though I do find him personally amusing in some respects. And I thought after arguing with him, I was making the jokes, haha, you get the bullet too, haha, watch the fuck out. I've got the Mosin, when the revolution comes, after I'm done tossing the fucking Molotov through your window coming in, I'm gonna stop it here because I'm a streamer now. I wasn't a streamer back then.
Yeah.
But the point is, I thought that his obviously horrendous behavior would encourage people to recognize that I am the lesser evil in this respect, that I am advocating for violence only because it is the only way of reliably destabilizing the systems of power this guy relies upon. But it didn't fucking work. Everyone just got real fucking triggered there. Oh my god, Irish lad, he's a tanky, which I'm not. Oh my god, he said he wanted to kill people. Didn't the Nazis want to kill people? I couldn't fucking do it. I wanted to blow my brains out. I expected more, even from the relatively woke people who follow Steven, like, compared to most liberals at least. And I was sorely disappointed. And now I have learned the importance of respectability politics. No more libs get the bullet. No more.
Panther Man.
Yeah, no more fucking the last capitalist we hang will be the one that sold us the rope. None of that shit. Even though I do believe it, it's not a matter of what I do and don't believe. It's about the way in which I present my values. So now I'm going to look at the fucking camera and I'm going to say tight-lipped, with tight-lipped eyes unwavering, maybe a single tear dripping down my cheek, I'm not a fan of violence. I only advocate for whatever is necessary to destabilize the institutional structures that enable passive violence against Americans and people abroad. And I say it, and there are tears. I'm sweating profusely, my hands quivering, my knuckles going white as I dig my fingernails into the meat of my palm. But it's all I can fucking do, because the triggered fucking lib shits are going to run around in circles like a chicken with its head cut off if I don't engage in that behavior. So from now on, we're fucking clean Vosh video, and yeah, I would recommend other leftists do the same. If for no other reason than because it's expedient, and we don't do leftism because it's cool. We don't do leftism for the memes or the social clicks. We don't do leftism because it gets us pussy or ass or dick or whatever genitalia or body part you want thrown at your face until you smother and die. We do leftism to make the world a better place. And if making the world a better place requires biting your teeth, clenching your knuckles, and engaging in some good optics, that sucks, but we have to do it. It is the right thing to do.
I'm glad you see the light, Irish.
I'm just a question asker here, man. Okay, cliche cat. You want to ask your question here?
Sure. Do you have an unusual kink that you like?
Ha! Oh, yeah, fucking absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I'll go to bat on this one. I like water sports. That's my shit.
Okay.
Come the fuck at me. Do you want me to elaborate?
Nah. I think we know what
All
water
right.
sports are, man.
No, okay. No, I mean that's absolutely fine. But I'm not holding back on this one.
Nah, this is the king shaming Discord saver. Okay, you do you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we
Okay.
support you. But I have another question after that. Is why do you think revolution won't happen in our lifetime?
Mostly it's tied to the things that I just said. Revolution is, it really depends on the kind of revolution that you think you intend on engaging in. When I think of, because I'm a revolutionary. I believe revolution is the means by which capitalism will be overthrown. I'm not a reformist. However, I do believe that a certain degree of capitulation from the capitalist class is necessary before revolution can be achieved. And there are a number of material conditions that I want to see achieved before I would feel comfortable in the success of a revolution. Because the hard part is not the revolution. Revolutions have happened before, many times in many places. What's difficult is forming a stable society afterwards. I will say this. Here are the things which I believe need to be present in order for a revolution to succeed. We need mass proletarian consciousness, not only an understanding of their shared oppression, but a willingness to do something about it. Not only will this require a substantial degree of worsening in the material conditions of the average American life, probably a product of late-stage capitalism failing to deal with, say, prolonged systemic unemployment, or as other nations industrialize, we relied upon their cheap labor, which we can no longer obtain, so things raise in price, but the society doesn't adjust to accommodate, so things get worse for each successive generation. Things like this. We need the education systems to be retooled. We need socialism to stop being a bad word. And most importantly, at least to me, we need a small group of people who are high up in government, who are sympathetic to our needs. I don't just mean fucking Bernie and AOC. Ilhan Omar might actually fit the ticket because I think she hides her power level a little bit. But I mean a group of people, maybe a party, maybe just a group of left-leaning Democrats, I don't know what the future holds, who are sympathetic to the needs of the proletariat, and should a revolution take place, they would either side with us or remain neutral, so that after the revolution succeeds, we already have a group of people occupying the existing power structure that can secure a comparably peaceful transition of power. I don't want a fucking 4-year revolution where blood floods the streets in every major city from the east to the west coast, where we need to physically take the White House by force, where we have to actually contend with police and military forces. Fuck that. That sounds awful. I don't want my fucking grandkids going through that. But a small, targeted insurrection that deals with the people who need dealing with, and a seizure of power from sympathetic politicians who have our interests in mind and are then brought into the fold after the revolution's conclusion. I think this might be the most likely way of ensuring a comparably bloodless revolution. And mind you, this is all fucking LARPing, okay? This is all just in my head. It's just theory. It's just how I believe this gives us the best shot. But in my mind, it will take us at least 60, 70, 80, 100 years before these material conditions arrive at a point where such a thing is possible. That's just my opinion, though.
Do you not think that, like, with the coming effects of climate change and ecological destruction, that those conditions may be met in the next 20, 30 years?
It is totally possible. Climate change is the great accelerationist, after all. It is possible to me that this might be the case. It will depend on the degree to which the effects of climate change affect America proportionate to the rest of the world. Like I said, I could absolutely have an impassioned discussion on this and change my mind or rethink my answer. All of these things. What matters most to me is ensuring the most ethical revolution possible with the greatest chance of a stable society afterwards. Because the revolution, again, that is the easy part. We know revolutions can succeed. No socialist state has ever succeeded. Not in the way it's needed to. There have been a lot of reasons for that, of course, but I want to give it the best chance possible when the time comes.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
I'm dabbing appreciatively. Thank you. Hell yeah. There we go.
Okay.
Nice dab.
Chalk, you want to... I'm just going to mute you. Oh, no, actually, you're muted yourself. I'll ask your question for you then. You got some weird wording here, man. Okay. If you are aware of any arguments against UBI or VAT as a concept itself, instead of we should be wary because conservatives will use it to kill welfare programs, arguments, I'd appreciate hearing them.
Okay, so we're talking about UBI with the assurance that welfare continues to exist and social programs aren't gutted?
Believe so. Again, he posed a really weird question.
That's fine. I think it's an interesting question. I mean, we got the Yang Gang memes floating about. I am not a tremendous fan of UBI, and this is principally for 3 reasons. Even if, and this is ignoring the welfare element, even if welfare and social programs remain. For one, UBI, by its nature, distances the average prole from the economic consequences of participating in society. Whenever you receive a benefit from the government, especially one that's just flat cash, that is money you are receiving without having to contend with the reality of the working class. This is problematic to me because I believe participation in the economy is an essential means by which we engage with the needs of our peers. If we accept UBI, not only are we distancing ourselves, at least on some level, I'm not saying this is holistic, but on some level, not only are we distancing ourselves from economic participation in a holistic sense, but we are ensuring a long-term proclivity towards financial reliance on state aid rather than the implementation of a society in which state aid is unnecessary due to the ethics and availability of good work. Secondly, I believe that it is very easy in a late stage capitalist UBI driven society. I think that it is quite possible that the alienation experienced by one who can subsist exclusively off social programs and UBI, it is quite possible for such a person to be taken advantage of by corporations who have a market interest in perpetuating society as it exists. After all, one of the greatest powers that we have as workers is the ability to strike. A strike can cripple even the greatest corporations in a very short matter of time. With how globalized the economy is, a strike for a single day can disrupt a trade chain that reaches across the entire world and involves the organization of tens of thousands of people. And this can be done with as little as a dozen people striking. As the economy grows in complexity, so too does the potential for an individual to exert their will over it. And I believe this is very important. UBI, conceptually, broadly, it is a means by which the individual's ability to commiserate with others and exert influence over economic production is minimized or at least lessened, and that concerns me greatly. It would again be futurist of me, but I could think of many examples in which UBI, having gone wrong or having been mislaid conceptually, allows corporations to exert some sort of dumbass fucking cyberpunk late 80s movie in which everyone just sits at home drinking the soda and they've got the UBI checks coming in. But, if you engage in social dissonance, your check gets reduced by 25% that month or some dumb shit like that. Now, I don't have opinions on that which are substantive enough for me to make a convincing case, but I do have concerns, particularly with China's social credit program presently in existence, which disincentivizes citizens from engaging in aberrant behavior lest they have privileges revoked, like the ability to, say, use public transit. The final and third reason this concerns me a little bit is that a UBI, once implemented, does not seem to me to be something which could be removed. While a welfare program and its stipulations can be pushed and pulled in many different ways, there are many factors which can be influenced there, raising or lowering the age or time periods involved in applications, or the drop-offs for the given amount you get given these stipulations. It's very complicated. But UBI, that's flat. You get your 1,000 buckaroos, or at least with Yang you would. And if you implement something that flatly, there are only 2 ways that it can go up. I mean, there are only 2 ways it can change. It can go up or down, and people will fight to keep it from going down, and they will laud it going up, unless, tax raises. What are you going to do? The point, though, is that I don't like the idea of social policy like this because it feels like it might have bad outcomes in the future when it comes time to edit those policies. Okay, that was super fucking lengthy, and again, really complicated. I invite an opportunity to educate myself further. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty loaded question. Okay. Zeta Zeta. Do you want to ask your question? Take that as a no.
Oh no, Zeta, my number one.
They said yes.
Okay. Have at it.
What up?
Hey.
All right, so I guess a quick preliminary question. Did you go on 4chan at any point regularly in your life?
Oh yeah, back in early to mid high school, absolutely.
Yeah, just had to make 100% sure. I mean, you were saying like hiding your power level, so I don't even know why I bothered asking. Anyway, so 4chan culture has sort of at this point like halfway become synonymous with just saying Nazi or bullshit. So how do you feel with having like a literal like V meme in your name? Do you feel like you're invoking something that might hurt people? I'm playing devil's advocate here.
Wait, in my name, wait, like with Vidya?
Yeah, Vidya's Forza's a V meme, isn't it?
Oh, I mean, I was thinking like Vati Vidya. Okay, fuck. I'll say 2 points on this. If there is an association between Vidya and reactionaries, I was genuinely unaware of it. But I will say this: the appropriation of right-leaning reactionary memes is a critical part of long-term fucking internet-based praxis. I have often felt that one of the biggest problems the left has from a optics perspective is that it's very difficult for leftists to convince kind of like politically disaffected, kind of like edgy, like fuck the world, like teenagers. It's really difficult for us to do so because you can be a fucking 4chan or reactionary or a Nazi and you can go in there and be fucking like, we was Kangs, right? Look at these fucking blue-haired triggered SJWers fucking on Tumblr, cringing, and you can bring them in with that shit because it's dumb humor, it's juvenile, and it's bigoted, but it's bigoted in a way that can be played off with irony. You can recruit very easily with stuff like that. It happened to me. Contrarily, with left-leaning culture, left-leaning memes are always like incredibly fucking wordy and very obviously politically biased and not very funny, or they are funny but you have to take for granted a whole bunch of shit leftists already believe. Like there is a ton of really good transgender humor out there, like the trans server or subreddit, I think fucking it's like funny memes sometimes, but in order to go there you have to be already like a big fucking libcuck, like big pink-hearted like supporter of trans people. I think that bringing a little bit of the edge into leftism, not bigotry mind you, but edge and ironic disaffectation of the political situations that we take seriously in other situations would be a good way of bringing people on board. And yeah, I think that involved putting Vidya in your fucking name, or maybe throwing a fucking Pepe in there now and again. We got Pepe, we got Peppo, we got the sad Pepes, we got all the fucking cool shit down here in my stream. Stuff like this is important because it's a good bridge. It's a good transitionary point for edgier fucks to make their way towards more progressive communities.
Yeah, all right, cool. I can jive with that. I mean, for me personally, I'm full on never let right-wingers take anything good from anybody. Like, you can't let them have even edgy humor, honestly.
Yeah, fuck them, and they're bad at it too. It's all cringy fucking 14-year-old shit. Fuck them. They don't get edgy humor. They don't get fucking anime. They don't get video games. I'm not letting them take a single fucking thing from me. Fuck them.
That's right.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, get the fuck out of my spaces. I like all of these things. Get out of here. Fuck you.
All right, good. All right, that was good. Thanks, bro.
No, thank you. I fucking love you, man.
I love you too. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go on to the next question. Kitsune. He's not here. Okay.
Kitsune, no.
Yeah. Okay. Do you support some form of market socialism, where there would be a circulating currency, or do you support a society without any currency?
I do like for literally as long as modern human society has existed, we have had class structure. It could be that I am limited in thought. I can imagine a world without gender, and I can imagine a world without race. I advocate for both of those things, the deconstruction socially of these concepts. And I can imagine a world without class, too. The idea that monetary wealth means maybe you can get some like cool shit, maybe some more luxuries thrown your way, some excess, but in a broader sense, you don't have the ability to flex your wealth on others. You can't control others through wealth. You can't control the political process. It's just a way of enriching your life slightly, maybe. But I don't know if I can imagine a society without some form of currency. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a fucking idiot, a dumbass. I've read theory on it, mind you. I'm no dummy. Well, I just said I am. Maybe I'm a dummy. I've read theory on it. I don't know. I do presently advocate for market socialism. I don't really like leftist sectarianism. Personally, I identify as an anarcho-syndicalist, but I do not give a fuck about arguing with ANCOMs or fucking... I don't give a fuck about arguing with ANCOMs or fucking regular anarchists or dem soaps or soaked... I don't care. Leftist solidarity. I do not care. I usually just advocate for leftism, for anti-capitalism. I want to fucking kill myself when I see all these...
Oh yeah, brother.
This is oh no, I'm ranting. We're doing it. This is the fucking difference between advocating for leftism as a matter of political course and advocating for leftism because you feel super cool and you've got a big fucking brain and you want to fucking like flex on all the other lefties to show them how big your brain is and how your hypothetical system that's never been implemented in the real world but maybe had a couple of experimental trials that were done back in the 1980s in fucking Yugoslavia panned out. Maybe. I don't know. I don't get off on that shit. Right now, what we need to focus on is collaborative action in solidarity against a communal enemy. The idea that there are leftists out there who are so fucking egotistical and self-centered that they would actively sabotage that collective goal because of the fucking commie anarchist schism that I see on online communities is nightmarish to me. I wake and I bleed from my eyeballs when I read this shit. I am specifically fucking banning leftist sectarianism in my community. I will yell at anyone who does it. I just don't fucking care. The only exception that I'm making are like hardcore tankies. Like people who don't think the Holodomor happened, people who defend North Korea, people who think that Maoism is like redeemable in any way or worse that Mao is. And the only reason that I'm fucking sectioning these people out is because I don't genuinely think they're leftists. I don't think they share my goals. I just think they like the aesthetics of these societies and they push for them, and that's it. I don't think they share my goals. So fuck them out. Most of them are homophobic anyway. I don't fucking...
I think we're really glad to hear you say that. The main reason we made this server is because we saw like a lot of the leftist servers on Discord were like really like leftists were just like attacking each other, or they would ban like some form of leftism. But I just wanted to make it. We wanted to make a community where all leftists were like welcome.
Yeah, it's nightmarish to me. I couldn't care less. Now, don't get me wrong. I am all for polite, respectful discussions of different ideas about theory and stuff between leftists who have different values. I'm totally for that. But there's a big difference between respectful disagreement and maybe even impassioned argument and literal fucking sectarianism. Like, fuck that. I'm not uniting with these guys. I don't share these people's interests. That shit gets me so fucking mad. I can't do it.
Okay. Good thing that this channel is muted because they would have the mouse would have had a few words with you, man.
That's fucking whatever. Look, fuck landlords. That's where I meet with them on. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they still in this chat? Mike Hayden. Okay.
Yo.
Oh,
So just a few questions partnered together. So what are your thoughts on drone strikes, U.S. drone strikes, given their careful review and review process prior to strikes, such as CDEs, the constant ISR that they have, and that airstrikes in general cause low civilian casualty numbers and collateral damage? Do you think that drones by America should be further deployed against high-value targets?
I have mixed opinions on this. For one, a drone strike is a conceptually terrifying thing. It is being controlled by somebody hundreds or even thousands of miles away. They're nearly impossible to shoot out of the sky. They have incredibly high precision. and they terrorize communities. So I have feelings on this. For one, the United States having the ability to extrajudicially execute people outside of the country is fucked up. But on the other hand, if we don't have drone strikes, then they could just use airstrikes, which probably would be less accurate because planes have to be larger to carry the people that are inside and everything that's necessary to sustain a human being, and larger planes means a higher altitude and larger payload, which means less accuracy, which means more fucking dead people in the hospital, right? So a drone is safer than an airstrike. And also, like, I don't benefit in any way from an American pilot being shot down. Like, that doesn't make the world a better place. The system is the problem, not the fucking pilot. So I guess in that respect, the drone is a good thing. And then you have to consider the fact that really, when it comes to American imperial military might, there's no real difference between a human life and money. Drones are expensive. Fighter planes are expensive. The pilot is expendable. The money is the problem. So really, like, is a drone safer in the respect that it affords less capacity to retaliate? Maybe. They're a lot harder to hit. It's really hard to shoot down a drone. I've read on this. Like you need sophisticated tech. You can't just do it. You need like an Air Force, or you need like good fucking surface to air missiles, which obviously most of the places that we're drone striking don't have. But fucking, if we don't do drone strikes and airstrikes, then we'll just invade the countries of people we want to kill. So I don't know. I do think there are people in foreign countries that probably do need to die. Don't get me wrong. I think there are people here who need to die. Like, I'm not a racist, you know? Let's just spread the love around. Lots of folks need to die. But
yeah.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I was just going to say, so the follow-up, the next part of the question is off. Yeah, anyway, is on a chap called Snowden, Edward Snowden, back in 2013. So given the man didn't know what he was talking about, right? He leaked a bunch of stuff, tried to say what he thinks they were saying, but they really didn't, about NSA surveillance and such. And the media lapping up that narrative of all the NSA spies on people and all the rest of it without warrants and all. Do you think he should come to America to face punishment, to be locked up after the judicial process for leaking classified information and not exposing any wrongdoing by the government?
No, I don't. I'm very pro whistleblowing. I have very little respect for these intelligence agencies. Conceptually, I don't have a problem with national secrecy. Obviously, if you're in a nation, the nation is going to need to do some things that I can't fucking let everyone in on. I get that. But given what the FBI and the CIA and the NSA and what have you tend to spend most of their time doing, and given the fact that I disagree with most of the things they spend most of their time doing, I am very firmly in favor of anyone who can dispel this illusion of impermeability that they erect around them. I think that Edward Snowden is, by and large, a good man, and I respect the effort that he put in. And
despite not leaking any wrongdoing?
Well, I mean, it's not. Well, it depends on how you define. It depends on how you define wrongdoing. Do you define it as things which violate like United States legal code, or do you consider wrongdoing to be like exposing the fact that they are presently and in the future working on a wide variety of programs which can trace, categorize, and archive data that goes in and out of the U.S. to a degree of efficiency which is unparalleled in all of human history? I would consider that an act of wrongdoing. It's not technically illegal, and there are no ways for the CIA to face legal repercussions, but the fact that that information was brought to light gives me a feeling that they're not impermeable. We can get that info out there, and if they ever become a problem, we can deal with them. I don't know if those feelings are legitimate, but he personally gave me a feeling of hope and solidarity, and I feel like he did to a lot of other people. I don't think there would be any benefit to his extradition or his inevitable fucking guilty sentence.
I would respond in further detail, but I'll pass on to the next person.
Sure. Yeah. Again, it's super complicated, and I never want to give the impression that I'm speaking from a position of ultimate authority. I'd like to think that my appeal stems mostly from my rhetoric and my very large penis, not so much from my insanely high-profile academic understanding of these issues, because I don't have that. But I do want to learn, and I want to grow. So, yeah.
Too easy.
Okay. Moving on to Tanaka, or whatever. Their name. Let's see. Which of the members of the intellectual dark web or other fascists has the most dangerous rhetoric? Where should our focus be when combating them?
Oh God, do I have to pick just one? I hate them
No.
all.
I think you can go ahead and pick multiple.
Oh fuck. Okay, let me think. Because it really depends on what you consider the most dangerous point in the transition to be. Like, is the most dangerous point full on fucking like Nick Fuentes, Lauren Southern, Stefan Molyneux, where you're already at the far fucking like if you're unironically following the opinions of these people, then you're probably lost mentally. So are they the most dangerous? Because they probably engage in the most active, like reactionary xenophobia and Islamophobia and what have you. Or what's more dangerous? Or then you've got kind of like people straddling that line. Ben Shapiro is not quite as far gone as these people. Him and like Steven Crowder. But they have massive fucking reach because they're extreme enough that they can appeal to white nationalists and reactionaries and Nazis, even though Ben's a Jew. I mean, what are you going to do? You've got all that shit, but they're mainstream enough that they can be incorporated into the fringe elements of the Republican Party. That's really fucking dangerous. And then you've got like, I don't know, then you've got like the lighter fucking shits, like early Sargon of Akkad. The past 2 years he's gone full fucking alt-right, but before that he was just like an idiot reactionary, right? Like he wasn't as far gone as Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro. He just was kind of like an idiot centrist who you talked, and he's very dumb, very small brain. But then you can go even further. What about PewDiePie? PewDiePie is not a member of the intellectual dark web, and the accusations against his personal let's say moral failings are varied and in some instances dubious and in some instances very compelling, but altogether his audience outweighs that of literally any other person I've mentioned or all of them combined. And all it takes is for him to drop a little nudge, nudge, wink, wink, you know? And just like that, 10,000 more people that day subbed to Ben Shapiro. With his little fucking meme review shit, all he has to do is a little bit of Nazi pandering, you know, death to the Jews, haha, wink. And then bam, you get sub to PewDiePie being spoken on live stream before shooting up a mosque. You get it carved into a Holocaust memorial. All it takes is a little bit. He's so big, and there's so little accountability. I don't know. I think that PewDiePie might actually be the worst and the most dangerous of all of them. I personally do believe that he's a Nazi who is hiding his power level. I do believe that. I obviously don't have proof. I can only inductively reason his thought process. But the way he's been acting suggests to me that he is someone who was radicalized a while ago and has now been brought up to the point. He's sort of testing the waters, you know, where he can radicalize his audience very subtly without dropping the fucking 80 million sub multimillionaire lifestyle that he has become accustomed to, without fully ostracizing himself with the mainstream. I think that might actually be the most dangerous thing here. And that's spooky too, because you can't call him out the way you can call other people out. I could go to a rally where Ben Shapiro is present and I could run up on stage naked and shit on him. I could just walk over him because he is 2 feet tall, and I could just shit. I could cork it up and just the cork would go flying. Just shit would cake him and his yarmulke would go flying like a little shit covered frisbee out into the crowd. I could do that. That's legal. I can do that. But I can't do that to PewDiePie. Because not only is he insanely popular, but he has enough plausible deniability that you can't call him out in the same way. That shit's really fucking dangerous. That's really scary. I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah. Fuck Steven Crowder though. I hate him the most.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Another question by Ninyev. Let's unmute Ninyev. Do you want to ask the question, Ninyev? Ninyev. Oh,
Hi. Hello. Oh.
Hi.
Oh. Hey. Yeah. Let me just make sure, because I was thinking about rephrasing part of it. Where is my question? Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm an SJW. Hi. What's up?
Howdy.
So I was going to ask your position on intersectionality and identity politics, and whether or not these can be reconciled with socialist theory. I've reconciled them with MLM. I'm just wondering if you think they can be reconciled in general.
Oh yeah,
because,
100%. Any comrade who advocates for class consciousness and worker solidarity, but then turns around and makes attack helicopter jokes or makes jokes about like women not being intrinsically good at STEM. These people are not my comrades. I don't care. I don't want to share a future with these people. The intersectionality is essential. And okay, I have different points here. Intersectionality is essential because it is a frame of analysis by which we can recognize the interconnected nature of different social issues. You know this, or at least I trust you to know this. It's very important to take an intersectional lens to these things because a lot of people, there are a lot of leftists out there who unironically believe that, sorry, I ate a lot of food. There are a lot of leftists out there who unironically believe that if we became like a socialist nation tomorrow, that racism would stop existing. That the only way in which systemic bigotry is enacted is through economic means. And that's fucking stupid. That's a brainlet fucking take. We could live in a blissful communist utopia with no class, no state borders, no money, and people would still fucking cross the street if they saw a black guy coming at them. Because racism and sexism and transphobia are, while related to and affected by class disparity, are not contained within it entirely. So intersectionality, as far as I'm concerned, if a person isn't advocating for intersectional analysis of social issues, I really don't give a fuck what they have to say. It's been the mainline fucking like predominant theory by which we analyze social issues for nearly 30 years now. It's time to hop the fuck on board. And secondly, in regard to identity politics, someone asked, do I use the word comrade ironically or unironically? Why would I say it ironically? I'm a fucking comic. Yeah, unironically. Yeah, I love that shit. Sorry. In regards to identity politics, I have this to say. I do not like it when people lead up front with their identity by using demographic descriptors. For instance, and watch my privilege fucking drip, okay? Watch my privilege leak from my pores. I am a cisgender, pansexual white man. I do not particularly like it when people acknowledge me for these characteristics first or exclusively, because I think that there are some parts of me, like my sense of humor, my mind, my personal interests, my opinions on anime, that I think better represent my character. So when I go online and I see people's like Twitter bios and it's literally like 18 fucking demographic identities like poly, pan, bi, LGBTQIA plus, in polyamorous relationship with blank, don't like trans, like, and I'm doing a bad job mimicking it right now because I'm a little bit tired and off my game. But we've all seen Twitter bios or Tumblr bios that look like this, and it makes me feel a little bit weird. Is this a future that we're looking for right now, where the way in which marginalized communities express their identities is through the dogmatic rehearsal of their many oppressed statuses? I don't know, but if it makes them happy and makes them feel like they have a community that they can retreat to when they're upset, then that's good. But at the same time, I advocate eventually for the destruction of many of these categories. So imposing all of these meaning on them, using them as a refuge, rather than using, say, an idea as a refuge, like leftism or worker solidarity, using your demographic characteristics as a refuge kind of reinforces notions that I want to be gotten rid of. But again, is it right for me to advocate for the absolution of these concepts when people are still using them as a way of coping with the harsh reality of the bigotry we live in today? I genuinely do not know. It's really, really difficult. What I care about most is that people not be fucking bigots. So as long as we get that part going out front, I think all of the nuanced discussion can take place behind that bracket. But I have no interest in discussing the specifics or the nuances of my opinion on identity politics with somebody who's using it as an excuse, like, haha, there are only two genders, libtard. That's not as... These people are excluded from my discussions on IDPOL.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'm just, real quick, I'm just concerned because, like, if we don't make a point, like a concerted effort to take care and show that we care for minorities, that in the interest of bourgeois nationalism from which these kinds of divisions arose in the first place. Liberals are just going to steal progressive politics from us. Like when we have like these like white like male like heterosexual Marxists who just talk exclusively from a class angle. Like don't be wrong, it's at the root, but I think it's something that we can take back without compromising revolution. Personally,
Yeah,
that's
I agree.
all
It's pretty fucked. Like when people ignore Bernie's platform and they're just like, we don't need another old white man. And then they'll unironically prop up Kamala Harris because she's a black woman, even though in every measurable sense she would be worse for every demographic like minority that they're claiming to do this in the name of. And the people doing that are always the fucking suburban wine moms who are still mad Hillary lost in 2016. Yeah, it's super easy for fucking libcucks to appropriate progressive rhetoric, which is what we gotta rise the fuck above it. Listen, my fucking comrades, whether you be transgender or cisgender, white, black, brown, Asian, or whatever the fuck, race doesn't even fucking real, whatever you identify as, we stand together, not behind our conceptual demographic identities, but instead in unity towards an idea. And that idea is pooping on gamers. Just poop, just big, lots of poop all over the gamers. That's what we're here for.
Nice.
Okay, sorry. That was everything I had to say on that topic.
That's fair.
Wait.
Okay.
Hold on. My girlfriend's freaking out. What the fuck is happening?
She's eating the leather connections on her stupid thing. She's chewing on leather.
My lizard is trying to eat her way out of her tank. She's gonna be
Oh,
okay.
no, dude.
It's all good. Lizards are very stupid. Good luck. All right, I'm ready. Let's go. Oh, this guy lives with his mom? Is my fucking girlfriend. I'm time-outing you. You've been doing nothing but acting like a chud this whole time. Eat my entire fucking asshole. Without wiping. Oh, no, not you guys. Sorry, in my stream chat. Get the fuck out of here, piece of shit. All right, I'm ready. Let's do it. I'm hyped the fuck up.
Okay. Is there a certain number of questions more you want to answer, or should we just keep going? And like whenever you're tired, and we can get off.
Whenever I'm tired, I'm tired. After this AMA, which I'm enjoying very much, by the way, and I appreciate you hosting it. I'll probably talk with my stream for a little bit afterwards, if for no other reason than because I love them and I want to show them I love them.
Okay, so maybe like 10 or 12 more questions because we've gone through a lot so far.
Yeah, let's hit it up. And if I ever get sleepy, I'll let you know.
Yeah, man. Okay.
Let's try to go through the questions that let's answer questions from people that whose questions haven't been answered yet, not repeat ones.
Yeah, don't feel pressure to say you're tired, man. Okay, so sorry, Mike Caden. We'll come back to you. But Anarchia, I believe is how you say. Are they in this chat?
No, they aren't.
Okay, well, I guess I'll ask this for him or her or them.
Cover all the bases.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to be polite, man. Okay, are all police class traitors? Can a cop be good? Do they have to go full on Dorner to be a decent cop?
I think, look, I know the lefties love circle jerking. Cops can be good people, but cops participate institutionally in an irredeemably bad system. But the ACA, I like the ACAB thing, because, fuck cops, I agree, but I don't want this to be a thought-terminating cliche. I am a leftist because I think we are uniquely capable of recognizing not only the humanity in everyone, including our enemies, but the means by which we can achieve the best results for everyone. I'm not comfortable with the idea of writing off cops as bad people intrinsically, but in order for a cop to be good as a cop, we'd need full on fucking betrayal here. We need leaked info. We need them to turn and testify against a cop in a key trial case and then go on and do fucking interviews about how the precinct that they worked for is corrupt as shit. I need something like that, you know? because the system they work for is just irredeemably fucked. And also, this is contextual, you know? Like, when we say this, we mostly think of big city cops, but there are a lot of cops that just operate in really small, sort of like Midwest districts that just, there's like 2 or 3 cops for a town, and they literally just like fucking chase escaped chickens and write speeding tickets now and again, and every once in a while a kid will go missing and they'll run off in the forest and look for them. And then there are cops adjacent, like park rangers, who I do have respect for, and they fulfill similar roles in society, just one of them arrests and one of them doesn't. There's a lot of context here that a lot of people don't look at, but I don't want that context to get in the way of people saying ACAB. Okay?
Oh yeah.
So it's look, repeat the messaging that you'd like, but in the head, you can't just be the messaging. You can't just have the bumper sticker in your head. Leftism is about freedom, and freedom comes from knowledge. Okay, you know.
Okay. Yeah. I think firefighters are the true heroes in our society, I believe. A cliche cat, yes, you may. Have at it.
Cool. Commissar, do you want to read your question, or do you want me to?
Yeah. sorry, I'm here. Yeah. I was curious. So with the what happened with the New Zealand shooting and everything like that, what do you believe should be the proper response that our government and other governments should take against, you know, these kind of organizations, since they're willing to go through what they say and everything like that?
What institutions are you referring to specifically?
Kind of like, what should the government like start going after them, like they go after other terrorist organizations?
I see.
Like start taking their threats very seriously and everything?
I don't know if the government can have a very prominent role in the criminalization and sort of like deconstruction of these white nationalist like radicalizations, because most of them, it's not like the Ku Klux Klan where you meet up physically together with people in your town and you have a meeting place and then you go out and physically do a thing. In this case, it's mostly you've got people online, and the people online have opinions, and the degree to which the opinions radicalize you determines the extent to which you're capable of inflicting harm on society. It's not really easy to institutionally pull that apart.
Correct. Yeah.
What I I'm more interested in a social takedown of these. I'm more interested in a broad social advocacy against the reactionaries who radicalize these shooters or shooter adjacents, and a collaborative effort amongst workers, or not even just workers, just good, decent people, to oppose these modes of thought on any platform they can get their grubby little pro mitts on. That's my shit. I don't know if I trust the government to be able to meaningfully tackle these problems without them also rebranding radicalization to encompass people like me. I unironically advocate for a lot of shit that the government would probably want to have word with me about. And I'm not saying that like to be edgy or anything, but if you think about it in like a material interest sense, the government would have every material benefit to taking out people like me, or taking out people like Hassan, for example, because we are, mostly in Hassan's case, I would like to one day be, a public figure who are advocating for the deconstruction of institutions that perpetuate systems of power as they exist today. So if I get rebranded to that, it's all over for me. I can't fight state power on my own.
I got you.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm rambling. Yeah, but yeah.
No, you're perfectly fine. Makes perfect sense, man.
Okay. Papa Lennon, do you want to read yours, or do you want me to?
Can we have Mike Hayden go after this one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I would like to. So, essentially, I was wondering what your thoughts are on kind of the Vanguard Party, and if you are against it, how would you say that we protect the gains from the revolution?
I am not a big Vanguard Party member. I gotta say, I do not particularly find myself fond of the contributions Lenin made to Marxist theory. I will say this: my preferred way of securing the gains one could achieve through a revolution would be through the method I described earlier, where I talked about securing a small portion of the existing government with representatives who are sympathetic towards the interests of the revolution, so that when the revolution succeeds, we could secure a somewhat peaceful transition of power as the revolution sort of meets them at the gates, so to speak. They will come from within the gated community, and we will come from without. The reason why this is important to me is because in this instance, the transition of power and the means by which the very complicated American bureaucracy could be handed over to the revolutionary group. This could be facilitated in a more comprehensive, thorough, less likely to fall apart manner, but the people who secure it beforehand, the sympathetic representatives in the state, their role ends when the revolution ends. They do not come into form with the revolution and lead it afterwards. They dissolute with the revolution, which means, at least in my mind, that this would make it less likely that they would try to hold on to power after the fact, because their role will have been done as soon as they have transferred that power, which hopefully, ideally, necessarily, they would do soon. I guess that's kind of Vanguard Party, isn't it? Fucking, okay, all right. Fucking kill me. Yeah, it's complicated. I don't know. Maybe I'm Lenin, actually. Next question. Moving on. The next question. Get me out of here. Fuck.
Okay, Gussler, would you like to articulate yours?
Oh,
or-
wait. We were going back to my.
I was gonna skip those two because.
Sorry.
I do need to go quite soon, so I think I should be able to get my quick question out.
Okay, good.
Yeah, cheers.
Come down my
so
throat,
it's a bit
brother.
of a two. It's a bit of a two-party. So, first part, do you think the U.S. defense budget is sufficient to address the current readiness issues that are facing the American military? A recent Navy internal study concluded that, for example, in the cyber domain, lack of funding is quite the key issue, and it is quite grim. So what are your thoughts on the that issue more broadly?
I just think that our priorities when it comes to military spending are absolutely fucked. Listen, I don't like it, but right now America is the world's policeman, and that is a necessary role in some respects, largely because we are competing for many material interests with many other groups, mostly Russia and China. And as much as I fucking hate America, I would rather see us be doing the imperialism than them, if for no other reason than because we have an actual functioning civil society and we rate way higher on the democracy index than either of those people, right? Or either of those nations. So in terms of imperialism wars, I still support America. I've done I've done a moderate amount of research on this, and it seems to me like the way in which our discretionary funding, or that which goes towards the military, the way in which we allocate it is fucked. It's fucked. Congress has literally no fucking idea what the military needs, but it will vote in defense spending bills that generals will actually argue against. We did this a couple of years ago, where Congress voted in like fundings to build, assemble, maintain fucking like 100 tanks or some shit. And a tank is expensive. This is not Advance Wars on the Game Boy Advance, my friends. A modern fucking M1 Abrams, or I don't even know if we're on M1, are we at M2? The modern M20 Abrams, this is like a 76-ton fucking war machine. We've only lost one in combat, and we didn't even lose it in combat, really. Like, these things are invulnerable fucking killing machines. And they're really expensive. And we voted them in, and we built more, and the generals of the army, the Pentagon, was like, no, please stop. No, please don't. Christ, we don't need more tanks. We don't need them. I don't understand why we spend so much of our military budget maintaining these ostentatious fucking war machines. Our fucking naval carriers, our insane fucking Air Force. How many sorties do we run? Does it really justify the Air Force we maintain at this time? Look, I know that shit happens quickly, but if we ever get in a war with a country, a big boy fucking country, that would require the implementation of these machines, there are only two ways that it can play out, okay, if it's a hot war. One, everyone gets nuked immediately and the world ends, okay? And that's a whole separate issue. And two, there will be enough fucking lead up that we, America, will be able to reinvest in our military defense spending and acclimate ourselves necessarily to the coming times of war. I do not believe it is necessary to maintain our insanely expensive fucking standing army, especially when, as you said, we are neglecting funding that could be going towards the actually necessary parts of our military, the parts I agree with, like cybersecurity. I'm all for that shit. Yeah, throw them $1 billion. Throw them a fucking $100 billion. I don't give a fuck. I would rather see that money go towards people who could ostensibly protect us against the interests of foreign powers than see it going towards the construction of another fucking aircraft carrier that will sit uselessly somewhere in the Atlantic after a president breaks a champagne bottle against its hull. Oh, God. Look, it's so... Again, it's really complicated. I'm obviously not privy to the same shit that your average fucking Pentagon general is going to be, but I really do not think that our priorities are straight.
So just a quick rebuttal into the follow-up, and then I'm up to head off. So the army has actually requested more tanks and to get more modernized efforts, right? Because it is quite an issue, especially with their Bradleys and other types of vehicles. It has become quite an issue in terms of readiness. Maintenance has also heavily impacted the Air Force and the Navy in particular, because they don't have the number of maintainers, are like 4,000 each short of what they're at, and so it is quite the issue. An increase in funding would help address that. So then to go on to the next part, in particular, because in the FY20 request, there has been a slight decrease by a very small percent to Operation Inherent Resolve, which is just fighting ISIS in Iraq and Syria, from 8.9 billion in FY19 to 6.9 billion for the request. So do you think a decrease is adequate to address just fighting ISIS in other activities there in Iraq and Syria?
I mean, the money,
imperialism that's just fighting ISIS.
The money that it's taken to fight ISIS is like chump change to the money that we need to maintain our standing army, right? Like ISIS was never actually a threat to the West. We expended a percentage of our military fighting them. We obviously weren't deploying fucking massive sorties and dropping tanks onto the ground or any dumb shit like that. It seems to me like a lot of the military as it stands need upgrades, but it doesn't need the volume that we're currently contending with. A lot of the military that we have presently, or its size, I think could be accounted partly to dick waving and partly to the fact that you can secure some juicy fucking construction contracts between the United States government and the fucking war machine companies that just so happen to have like lobbyists just fucking jerking it and pumping money down the throat of our elected representatives. I don't think the problem is that there isn't enough money. I think the problem is that the money is being distributed horrendously badly.
Again, I think the last time I would have a lot of counters, but in either case I have to go. So thanks for answering the questions.
Well, what matters is that I love you and you love me, okay? Can we agree that's the important part here?
Very much so.
All right,
catch you guys.
Have a good night.
Okay. Guzzler, do you want to articulate your question, or would you like?
Yes, please. Sorry.
Getting hard from the start.
Sorry, I was just really put off by that last question, I guess. Yeah, but, I mean, obviously you need the M1 tanks to... the imperialist machine hungers for blood, so how else are you going to do them?
Wait, are you implying that you want to get rid of the institution that fucking inspires all of our Call of Duty games? What's wrong with you? Come on, are you a gamer?
Well, COD 4 was kind of anti-imperialist, but that doesn't matter.
That was the only good one. All right, let's hit it. Hit me the fuck up.
That's the only one I've ever played, mate. Sorry. So my question was, I'm from Topsy-Turvy Land, Australia, so climate change is a really, really big issue here. And speaking, so I guess I'll read my question. Do you believe the younger generation are generally more receptive to leftism? Speaking anecdotally from Australia, younger people seem to respond well to leftist praxis, particularly related to the environment.
Leftism in regards to ecological justice and in regards to left-leaning social policy that still fits within the framework of capitalism, like social democracy, I would say yes. in regards to legitimate like leftist praxis, theory, anti-fascism, proper socialism, proper communism, anarchism, no, I don't feel as though we've made any meaningful strides. Still progress, mind, but not towards sort of where I stand in the aisle. I'd be interested in seeing research on that, though.
Yeah, I guess that answers my question. Thanks.
Well, yeah, of course. Hey, look, listen. When I was 13 years old, I visited Australia because my mom made a friend on MySpace. That's not a joke. And I had a great time down there. Your country sucks. It's so hot. Holy shit, it's so hot.
That's not the worst part of it.
I'm not
the right-wing politics.
I know.
I was sorry.
No, just like, holy fuck, it was so fucking hot. I went this like 115 degrees like every day. Fucking kill me. Never going back.
How long ago was that?
It would have been 12 years ago.
These past few months have been the hottest months in Australian history. So, and I'm right in the center of that, southeast Queensland. So, yeah, it's a hellhole. We've got I'm currently in the middle of a storm which should be in summer, but now it's in autumn because the summers are too dry to have storms.
Just move, forehead.
Yeah, good luck, friend. I love you. Stay safe.
Thanks. I love you too.
Alrighty, the Eternal American. You may ask your question now.
Imagine being American.
To which strain of Marxist thought do you subscribe? You call yourself left con? You call yourself, like what's your, I guess, your label that you prefer to use?
Anarcho-syndicalism is the particular branch of leftism that I have seen the most convincing theory from, but I am very open to changing my mind on that. Anti-capitalism is the line that I draw in the sand. Everything beyond that point is something I'm willing to consider.
Yeah, I firmly agree. Regardless of what you call yourself, I think anybody can agree capitalism is terrible.
Fuck yeah, solidarity.
Like it is, regardless of what you call yourself or what politics you have. I think that's pretty much anybody who's not being paid off can universally agree on this.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Eternal American. While you're here, do you want to also ask is UBI?
I was going to ask. It was in response to you were talking about UBI earlier. So basically, in your worldview, it's effectively a bribe.
Yeah, there was a meme on Chapo Trap House that I saw today, and it was like the I'll pay you $100 to fuck off. It was Andrew Yang. It was Andrew Yang handing the dollar bills to a person with class consciousness written on their face. I'll pay you $1,000 to fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I think that sums up my feelings.
The funny thing is, Andrew Yang. I've described this like Andrew Yang's a tech billionaire. The reason he's doing this isn't because he cares; it's because he doesn't want his workers rioting.
I think Andrew Yang is like a low-key fucking libertarian technocrat who has nothing innovative to say in the political aisle and just has like a very blasé baseline solution. Like I don't give a fuck about Yang. Fuck the Yang gang. Fuck you.
He's a one-issue candidate ultimately. A lot of his ideas actually are also pretty fucking stupid. Like he wants to create a council like on media addiction. Like that would be a fucking completely useless council.
Fuck. I mean, his meme power level is pretty high, though. We gotta implement that stuff into our like front-runner leftist candidates.
I mean, I would consider voting for him simply with the fact I wouldn't have to fucking work a shitty corporate job anymore. I just fucking be able to click my UBI and just do nothing. I mean, you'd be contributing to the world the same regardless if you just fucking screwed around.
Yeah. Okay. Astrigix here. Yes. Eternal American. We'll get back to your other question after. Okay. Thank you for the question, though.
Yeah. No. Thank you.
Strigix. Is Strigix here?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so I figured I'd give you a somewhat softer question. A lot of these have been heavy. Who is your favorite leftist author, and if they've written multiple books?
If they've written multiple books, which one is my favorite?
Yes.
You're about to cringe out of your fucking skull, but I'm being 100% serious about this, okay? George Orwell. I think that most people who read George Orwell, a lot of them do it in high school, and 1984 being my favorite, of course. I think that a lot of people who read 1984 come away with a very surface-level understanding of the themes in that book, because it's not about surveillance or authoritarianism, really. That's sort of the backdressing. What it's really about is the capacity for the human mind to be exploited, the capacity we have to fall into line, to subject ourselves to subjectivity to the extent that the objective material world ceases to matter. These themes, these points about reality control, I still think this is not only relevant, I still think it's innovative. Even though this book was written fucking 60, 70 years ago, when I read it again, and I have read this book many times, every day I read it, or not every day, every time I read it, I feel like I can pull something new, some new way in which I can interpolate the madness of that novel and its setting to the madness we experience in our day-to-day. The way it's not heavy-handed, and that's weird because it is heavy-handed. It's a book about the most totalitarian society imaginable. It's very difficult to imagine a society worse than that of Oceania. But in spite of that, the way in which it lays across its themes requires a great deal of tact, a lot of interpretive intellect. And I really appreciate that. His post editorial that he does on the idiosyncrasies of newspeak, the fictitious language that he developed for that book, double plus good and what have you, is some of the most fascinating reading that I have ever consumed concerning the relationship between language and thought. It unironically gives me the chills when I think about it. So I would have to say, without question, George Orwell in 1984, and I would strongly encourage anyone who hasn't given it a read since high school to read it again with a modern appreciation for political sentiment, because it is a phenomenal piece of work.
Okay.
I got into that one pretty hard. You can't say I'm tearing up right now. I'm all for it.
A question of my own. Have you do you know who Philip K. Dick is?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking of reading Ubik. Is it a good book? Have you read it?
I have not. I'm sorry. It has been on my reading list since I was literally like fucking 18. I desperately want to read more I want to get more of that dick in my brain. Okay, but I've had a hard time. I'm actually a very bad reader. I'm not at all academically inclined. I enjoy the rhetorical side of analysis, but the literary side has always left me. It's unironically because I have unmedicated ADHD. I just have difficulty concentrating, but I quite like speaking. So that's always been how I engaged with theory, personally.
All right. I don't think Tassu is here, so I'll go ahead and read their question. Whenever I try to start the discussion of toxic masculinity on more right-leaning forums, I get one of two responses. Toxic masculinity is part of the tactic to invent concepts to attack men, or what about toxic femininity? How would you respond to these questions and convince these people over to the other side if you had a gun pointed to your head and your survival instincts told you that you can't let him pull the trigger?
Well, yeah, I mean, I hope so, right? I don't want to die. Okay. This is my weapon, okay? I was ready for this one. I am a fucking ICBM against chuds who don't understand toxic masculinity. Listen, I am a very masculine person. Now, I understand that if you're looking at me on stream right now, you can see that I'm clearly at least a little bit overweight. I've got a fucking hipster glasses and a soy boy hair bun. Fuck you. I'm mask as shit. My tea is through the fucking roof. My cock is huge. I'm hairy from head to toe. I've got a deep fucking voice. I take command of every social situation I'm a part of. I am masculine as shit. And I don't care about that as it relates to masculinity. I enjoy these concepts as they exist in a vacuum. And I would like to think that for the most part, I am not an especially toxic person, at least not in regards to my masculinity. That's not perfect, mind you. I can be prideful, I can be wrathful, but by and large, I think I conduct myself pretty well, pretty progressively. Now, why I think this is important is because when I present myself to other people, I represent a version, at least as a character rather than as an individual. I represent a version of satirical hypermasculinity, free of toxic elements, which I want other people to be inspired by. The satirical hypermasculinity, which can make people both alert of the ways in which masculinity affects our behavior, the ways in which it is performative, the ways in which we make choices to present ourselves in certain ways, and the fact that this can be done in a non-toxic way. Because I am, among other things, not generally a jealous person. I am generally fairly calm. There are many feminine traits, or traditionally feminine traits, that I bring out in certain situations. The point that I'm getting at here, and I'm not trying to sound conceited, because that's really, really, really not my goal here. The point that I'm getting here is that I want to demonstrate to people through example that it is possible to be non-toxic and masculine without subscribing to what some might view as the intentional feminization presented by the left. And we do see this. The big leftist icons right now online are, like on YouTube at least, are probably ContraPoints, H-Bomber Guy, Sean, and Jen. ContraPoints is a trans woman. That's as terrifying to chuds as you can get. Sean and Jen are faceless, and H-Bomber Guy is, and I don't mean this in any sort of insulting capacity, looks like a feminine little bitch soy boy. At least in their eyes he would. And I have, of course, a tremendous respect for these content creators, but it is necessary, if we are to advocate and change minds, that we present to these people a variant of leftism, a presentation of masculinity, which grasps them, which they can look up to without feeling as though they are succumbing to the feminizing elements of leftist ideology. And let's be realistic here. We do advocate a little bit for feminization. Masculinity is kind of bunk, guys. Kind of shit. Let's just fucking be real. I'm a gender abolitionist. I don't want any of this shit. But in the meantime, working with what we have, there is benefit to meeting them at their level. And that is what I want to do. If I saddle up to a fucking chud and I'm like, hey, toxic masculinity sucks, and he looks at me sweating, my chest hair bulging out from my tank top, my throbbing 18-inch penis pulsating softly against my tight short shorts, I am presenting him this opportunity to engage with the ideas that he is afraid of and curious about on a level that he can reach without feeling as though he is capitulating. Sorry, that was super fucking wordy, but that's my shit right there. That's my feel. That's my goal. I really care about this. It fucking sucks that there are so many dudes out there that are just miserable and don't know how to express themselves emotionally and are just going to fucking die useless, alone, and unhappy, and never having experienced the capacity a human has for joy just because, like, oh, I'm a man, I gotta be stoic. It fucking sucks. Fuck that. No. I really care about... Sorry about the mic. I really care about these people, and I want to help them in any way I can, even by being very aggressively gay.
Yeah, I think it's definitely necessary. These things can be very damaging to the male psyche. I think it's important to remedy that. The eternal American, you can ask your question.
What was the question I was going to ask?
How do you feel about Christians?
Oh yeah, how do you feel about Christianity? And you think it would survive a revolution? Or you think it would the Christian and their clergy would effectively be deported?
I think it would survive a revolution, but I hope that it would take a less institutionalized form. A lot of what we understand Christianity to be is funneled through this weird collaboration between the church and the state, where they get their tax-free exemptions and we all kind of treat churches as a separate organization, even though it's really just a fucking business. Oh, that sounds so fucking edgy, but it is. Like, fuck you guys. Come on, they're like a
lot of churches have become a business.
Yeah. Like that's the shit, right? Fuck Christianity and fuck Judaism and Islam and Hinduism. I don't care about organized religion. Fuck them. They're all antithetical to the pursuit of human happiness, and they alienate people from understanding the necessity of making your one shot at life count. Now, I cannot deductively prove that there's no afterlife and no God. That's not possible. But what I can do is say that the faculties of reason by which we have at this point arrived to the best possible world we've yet built, a world in which we can communicate in an instant with people across the globe, a world in which I am not too socially disinclined from engaging in any kind of sexual or romantic pairing I'm interested in, a world in which food could at least be accessible to all. This world has been born of reason, and reason does not suggest to us that there is an afterlife. So following in with the principles by which I lead my life, it seems important to me that I encourage people to do the best they can with their one chance at existence before they return to the infinite void from which we were all spawned. I feel like I go pretty hard on every question.
Yeah, you thoroughly into it, and
I was going to ask
another
another.
question.
I suppose I think a way to word this. Could you, I suppose, understand the kind of extreme backlash against intersectional politics from people considering the fact how it's been presented regarding, like for example, like BuzzFeed clickbait articles? Or
Yeah.
Oh,
fuck BuzzFeed clickbait. Fuck liberals. Fuck progressives appropriating this shit. No, that stuff is really, really fucking easy to look at and feel bad about. Because I'm woke now, but if I was 10 years ago, back when I was like a 4chan memer, and I saw BuzzFeed articles, they weren't doing this back then, mind you, but back then, if I was like BuzzFeed articles like, why white people just need to shut up, sometimes you just need a little like black perspective on this, like I'd be so fucking triggered by that, and it wouldn't be their fault. It would be my fault because I don't understand the social issues such that I could interpret what they're saying charitably, but we don't need to phrase these things in a way where you need to interpret them charitably to not think they're fucking stupid. You can make articles that deal with the same issue, just saying like, hey, politics is for all of us. All of us have the right to participate in this arena, but some fucking people don't really get an equal share in the voice. Studies show fucking black ladies don't get as much of a say on this issue, so we thought we'd highlight their perspectives on this and this. Okay? Now, there are still going to be chuds who get mad as fuck about this because they fucking hate black women, because they get so angry. And there's only so much you can do about that. But I think that many liberal sort of libcucky kind of idpol organizations have done a really bad job presenting identity politics to the public, which fucking sucks, because then it makes it hard for me to argue against, because then people unironically come up to me and they think I like hate straight white men. I'm a white guy. I don't fucking hate white guys. I have no self-hate. They come up to me and they're like, yeah, you still feel guilty about slavery. No, I fucking don't. I didn't do shit. I benefit institutionally from some of the things that slavers did, but I didn't fucking do. They walk up, you're just as you realize the reason why women aren't in STEM isn't because of society, right? Women just aren't that good. I'm like, no, I have to defend. I have to fucking deal with all these positions they ascribe to me because they've read a BuzzFeed article.
Is there any evidence to suggest that women may be predisposed to different types of intellectual pursuits?
Well,
is there any evidence to suggest that?
This is a hard biology meme, because if we like strip society out of this, because obviously my default answer would be that social inclinations have been proven to affect people as young as in vitro. Obviously, it's impossible to divorce social choice from blah 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 blah. But there is research that shows that the male and female brain are very slightly different in certain ways, and we see that too with trans women and trans men, that their brains tend to better model the behaviors of the gender they identify as rather than that way they were assigned at birth. So maybe there's a slight inclination. I would be willing to accept evo psych arguments that maybe people like cis women are maybe a little bit more inclined to be interested in like child rearing and like elementary school teachers and other like dealing with young kids. And I definitely accept arguments about how like cisgender men are probably always going to make up most of like the soldiers and the construction workers and stuff that require muscle strength and bone density and stuff. But to me, it's not about getting exact 50-50 representation in all of these fields. It's about eliminating social pressures so people can legitimately do what they want to do and what they can do best. So if it ends up being that fucking 90% of construction workers are men in the distant future, I don't care, as long as the 10% of the women that are in there aren't given shit for it.
Okay. Let's move on to a different question.
One more question. How do you feel about Gamergate? How did you feel about that when it was going down?
Gamergate got Trump elected, and if I could go back in time and
Gamergate got Trump elected.
If I could nuke the concept of Gamergate from orbit and its fucking in its conceptualization back in 2014, I would be the fucking Terminator. I would time travel back to 2014 and go on a fucking rampage. I would get rid of fucking Kotaku in action. I would get rid of fucking all the Gamergate subs. I'd get rid of I'd take it all down. I would guillotine the entire fucking concept of Gamergate. But I could spend a 6-hour stream rambling about that. So I'm gonna have to leave it at that.
Wait.
Okay. You can ask him some questions later, but we gotta move on to some other questions, man.
I love you.
Sorry.
Stay strong, comrade.
Lefty, that's a righty. If you would like to ask your question, you may do so.
Ask it for me. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. From what I can tell about anarcho-syndicalism, perhaps I am misinformed, it involves the people or the laborers directly making most political decisions directly. But weren't you arguing against this concept in recent PragerU rebuttal video?
I think I'm not against hierarchies of necessity and hierarchies of competence. What matters to me is that the hierarchies are locally sourced. For example, if we have, to use this in very reductive language, in anarcho-syndicalism, the primary functioning unit of society is, well, it's a syndactylist. It's a fuck. What do they call? Not a commune. A fucking not a union. A fucking. Oh god, it's like the fancy name for union. Fucking kill me. Come on.
I think it's a syndicate.
A syndicate, right? Syndicalism, of course. Fucking yeah. Syndicates of workers. Yeah, chat's correcting me. All of you, everyone who says syndicate from this point on is banned. So in a minimal sense, a syndicate isn't necessarily an institution entirely free of hierarchy or bureaucracy. It is instead it is a locally sourced hierarchy. Like, for instance, if I was a participant in a syndicate, it's not as though like every of the 1,000 workers in there could all vote on every issue and we would all settle everything communally. Obviously, there has to be some level of bureaucratic involvement that allows us to make decisions that don't need to be passed through a vote, or to make decisions too mundane to be passed through a vote, or to make decisions that are too contentious to vote on, that you should instead get a manner of representative for. And then you can have representatives vote in representatives. What matters to me is that the functioning base level of society, the unit to which everything else is accountable, is the syndicate, or is the worker, essentially. But there's actually a ton of variance when it comes to anarcho-syndicalist theory, and when it comes to bureaucratization, the distribution of power, hierarchies of competence, and all of that stuff is really interesting, and it fills up books that are way too big for me to fucking read. So so those are my opinions on it broadly, but economics is and probably always will be my worst subject. I've never really had the patience for it personally. But yes, that's my reconciliation. Hopefully it's not terribly inconsistent.
Okie dokie. Fox Detail, you may go.
Hey, sorry, is my mic working? I'm not...
You sound good, friend.
Awesome. So forgive me if you've talked about this before and I missed it. I'm curious about how a revolution would approach issues like gun reform and dealing with current systems we have in place, like the NRA and lobbying. So more specifically, just what are your thoughts on gun control, and do you believe in the right to carry arms? What restrictions, if any, do you feel are necessary?
I am, excuse me, oh my god, where's all this phlegm coming from? Fucking kill me. Oh my god, that was so necessary. I'm a big fan of, locally based hierarchy, so is slavery okay on the small scale? Ethical hierarchy. I said hierarchy of competence and hierarchy of necessity. You brainlet fuck. You degenerate piece of shit, smooth brain, marble-skulled fucking dipshit. Okay, sorry, unrelated. I am a big fan of gun ownership, largely because political power is derived exclusively through the means to enact violence, and violence is enacted most efficaciously with a firearm. So, on a conceptual level, the idea of disarming the proletariat is very frightening to me. What I like personally, though, is the idea of communally owned armories. That's always something that struck me pretty positively. You see, it has been proven pretty pretty definitively that gun ownership increases the likelihood of death and suicide in a home. If you're feeling depressed one day, if you're high off your fucking head as balls, or if a kid gets into your cabinet, if there's a misfire, there are many things that can happen which can lead to a firearm in a home, leading to a death. Very unfortunate. I don't wish to see this. And I don't want guns to be in the hands of the proletariat so they can defend themselves while they're walking to Costco, or so they can defend their home from a home invader. These things are not proven to work. What I want them for is so the community or the individual has the ability to exercise political and physical pressure on institutions of the state. Exactly the same as what the Black Panther Party did back in the 1960s, when they would take their rifles outside California courthouses and just stare police down, when they would follow police cars around the black neighborhoods. This is, excuse me, this is very positive to me, very good praxis, and I support it, because you are using the purportedly inherent rights of the American Constitution grants for explicitly leftist ends. And you can't even be targeted or questioned by conservatives. I mean, they'll do it, because black people with guns are scary. I mean, Reagan was the one who implemented those gun laws in California just to keep the scary black people from standing outside courthouses, even though what they were doing was legal. But it is very easy to argue against, because their hypocrisy in this instance is extremely blatant. I like the idea of communally owned armories, a place you can register a gun there, you can own a gun and shock it up there, and there would be a person who works there, and you need to go there like, hey, do you need a gun? Hey, is the fucking revolution coming today, comrade? If so, open up the fucking doors, get your Mossins, get your fucking inflammatory devices, bring them all out, let's go. And if you need to go hunting, or you just want to go shooting at the range, it's just a quick trip down to get your firearm, right? But as long as it's communally owned and there's some sort of democratic process for ensuring that, it always comes back to the democratic process. As long as this armory couldn't be co-opted by the state, so it wouldn't be like the day of the revolution comes, you show up, there's a police officer there behind the fucking ticker window, the bulletproof glass, and they're like, sorry, bucko, and lock it all down. As long as this thing could be managed appropriately, I would be in favor of this sort of system.
Wow. Yeah, I definitely agree with the idea of community firearm vaults or armories. I guess that's really it. Can I get a sick dab for the
Fuck
stream?
yeah, you can. Fuck yeah, this is what I'm talking about. These are the questions I'm here for. I'm gonna dab so hard my fucking bun comes undone. There we go.
I fucking love it. Thank you.
No, thank you. And when you said wow at first, I thought you were gonna be like, wow, that was fucking stupid. But no, it worked out better than I thought. Fuck yeah.
Alrighty. Lefty That's Already asks, do you respect pacifists? As a pacifist, all the leftist talk of violent revolution scares me. Most of my ideals line up with leftism, but this pushes me away a bit.
Yeah, I have lots of respect for pacifists with one condition. You can be a pacifist, because I want the world after the revolution to be run by pacifists. I abhor violence. I know this sounds a little bit antithetical to what I was saying earlier, but the only reason I have led myself to the revolutionary conclusions that I have is because I genuinely believe it's the best way to secure a free future for all of us, that it will lead in the long run to the least blood. But I take absolutely no joy from bloodshed, physically or conceptually. I don't like violence. I sometimes lay awake at night, and I just think about the things I said, and I think about the people who get hurt every day, and it just makes me miserable. I don't like it. I only advocate for violence as a political necessity. I am disgusted by it in all other circumstances. With that said, the only problem that I have with violence, not with violence, I'm sorry, I have many problems with violence. The only problem that I have with pacifists is that I feel as though many pacifists have adopted a sort of reformist naivete, and that when push comes to shove, they might end up siding with the establishment over the revolutionary. I've spoken to several people like that. I know there are many pacifists who would not lean that way, though, who abhor violence but recognize its occasional necessity and would sort of sit on their thumbs should something happen. I want this world to be led by pacifists down the line. But we will eventually run to a breaking point, and when that point comes, the pacifists will either need to sit on the side or take up arms with us. But, again, I have no personal disrespect for pacifists, and I strongly disavow the fucking LARPy, tanky kind of leftists who shit on pacifists because, fucking, violence is life, glory to the motherland, that shit. I'm not there for that.
Okie dokie. Super Devin, would you like to ask your question?
Sure, yeah. Cool. So, we miss you on D.GG, but my question is, where did I write? If I can find it was pinned. Okay. Do you agree with anti-racists like Tim Weiss who believe racism is an issue that plagues white America and it's up to white America to solve the problem?
For one, I miss myself in D.GG as well, so there's that. For two, I do generally agree with that. Listen, black solidarity, black power, black anti-racism, all of these things are necessary components. Not just black people, fucking Muslim people, fucking brown people, okay. But speaking specifically, the efforts for marginalized racial communities to rise up against their interlocutors, their oppressors, it is necessary. However, by and large, it is within the power of those who have the power to disassemble the means by which they possess that power. Much in the same way that abolitionism, that the Civil War, that the liberation of the slaves was predominantly, and I am by no means attempting to engage in erasure here, there were many incredibly brave fucking slaves who participated in this conflict. But the primary political thrust of it, unquestionably a white endeavor. It is by appealing to the sentiments of those in power that one is able to make substantive change. And it depends on whether you want to work towards reform or end with revolution. For example, I believe that racism on its own can be addressed through reform. What else are we gonna get? Like a black revolution where we kill all the fucking whiteys? No, that wouldn't. For one, no, I'm white. Please. For two, it wouldn't solve anything. For three, it'd be massively unethical. Like, no. Because racism doesn't work the same way classism does. Classism is a system that is perpetuated by a very small number of people on top. Capitalism, the gears that turn it, this system is orchestrated by a select class of people. But racism is this broad, ambiguous social construct that is fed into and fed out of from many people in many different systems. In fact, it is very often the powerless, the poor whites, who are responsible for perpetuating this racial inequality, at least in their community level. With all of that said, yes, unless you're planning to go for full-on fucking revolution, appealing to the sensibilities of those in power is a necessity to ensuring the deconstruction of oppressive social structures. In my opinion.
Alrighty. Saninja, would you like to ask your question?
Just so you know, I'm getting a smidge sleepy over here, so.
We can end it after a few more questions.
Yeah.
We can go for a while.
Also, it's pronounced S Ninja. So, how do you feel about the sort of the religious beliefs that tend to be sort of not as like hierarchical or centralized? More specifically, sort of quote on. I don't want to use the word New Age. The new resurgence of Wiccan or old European, mainly polytheistic religious beliefs, or shamanist religious beliefs, or Taoism.
Without wishing to sound like an edgy fucking anti-theist, I am an anti-theist, and I am edgy. I'm not a fan of superstition as a concept. I think that even if you take out all of the hierarchy and institutional discrimination present in existing religions, religion as a concept still encourages certain modes of thought that I find contrary to the needs of a developed society, which make me very uncomfortable. Superstition, the belief in the supernatural, a propensity to believe the interpretive word of others, a belief in an afterlife. I think these things are all detrimental in the long run because they discourage us from focusing on the real material issues that can materially benefit people in the here and now. Now, with that said, I know people who are superstitious. I know people who are religious. Many of them are fine folk, and many of them are good leftists. So it's not that just because you believe in these things, you're fucking canceled, you're a shit lib, fucking piece of shit, not fucking get out of here. None of that shit. None of that. You can believe these things and still be fucking valid. But as a broad social disclaimer, I am not personally a fan of it.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you didn't go full Mao on me.
No. Destroy the institution, disencourage the thought. People should be able to think whatever they want without retaliation from the state. Even fucking fasci beliefs. I genuinely believe that. I think these things should be socially disencouraged, not demolished through state power. That's not my shit.
What else was I gonna say?
You were gonna tell me I'm handsome.
Well, I wasn't gonna say that actually, but hashtag controversial opinions. So I signed up on the Patreon, you know, and then I tried to
I was about to say, I saw your email. I'm actually looking into it because it should have refreshed by now. I did see your email. I'm sorry for not responding. The past 24 hours have been a nightmare for me. But I saw your email and I'm working on it. I should have it fixed by tomorrow. Guaranteed.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, man. And hey, happy to have you.
Okay. Paint Chip Connoisseur asks, in reference to your early conversation regarding male and female inclination to certain fields, have you ever considered if hormones played a role in what fields male and females would rather?
Can I get a little bit of context on this specifically, or are they not present too? No, I see them here. Paint Chip Connoisseur, can I ask you a question to clarify?
Oh, hello?
Hello.
Sorry.
No worries. When you say by hormones, do you mean to say just the product of our thyroid and chromosomal excretions, which determine how our body structures itself, or are you talking about a more socially constructed sort of hormonal influence?
Yeah, I would say form. I'm not too I was just wondering what you would think about it, since it was just on a whim. Sorry, but I would say the former.
Well, you don't need to apologize to me. We're having a fucking conversation here. I'm having a delightful time. I am a I'm a gender abolitionist. I don't like the construct of man and woman. I don't think it's. Why do I have 75 notifications on my Discord? Hold on. Oh.
It was probably because we kept adhering on the server.
No, it's because someone's spamming N-words are not human on my
Oh, great.
So that's cool. All right, we're just gonna. I got them. They're banned. You got them? Yeah. All right.
You could do that. I fucked up on the deleting the messages. Can you do that?
Yeah, I'll do it. Fucking piece of shit. Give me 1 second. Does anyone know if there's a way to completely scrub a person's messages from a server?
Go into audit log.
Go into what?
I think you can see them in the audit log and then just scrub them from the server.
Auto log. That sounds fancy.
Audit, as in the IRS audits people.
Audit log. I'm very new to Discord. Wait, hold on. Just give me a second. I apologize. I love you. You're all beautiful to me.
Oh, it's no problem.
Okay, wait, hold on. I can do this. Okay. Man, that person sure did say the N-word a lot. I guess. Audit log. Here we go. Streamer mode enabled. What? Nah, get me in here. Automatically enable, disable, hide disable sounds, save notifications. Okay, we'll turn off streamer mode. Sorry, I love you. I'm sorry, I love you. And now we go to the audit log. Filter by user. Okay. Now we go to this. Nope, I'm bored. I give up. We'll figure it out soon. Good luck, babe. All right. So to continue with your question. I am a gender abolitionist. I don't like gender as a construct. I do not like it conceptually. I think that it is both an inefficacious and a damaging construct by which to arrange human behavior and human mannerisms. We, of course, recognize a sexual distinction. People, typically speaking, who are born with male character, like with a penis and the male reproductive organs, denser bone structure, and blah, 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 blah. And then you got the womb and the what have you. And of course, there are differences, and even sex can be argued to be socially constructed. But broadly speaking, I want to arrive at a world at which, when all is said and done, whatever distinctions there may be in what fields people choose to get themselves involved in on a gender or sex level become irrelevant, because nobody sees this as a determining characteristic which decides a person's behavior. So for me, it is about the capacity in the long run not only to ensure equality in this regard, but to make equality irrelevant, because there aren't even different categories amongst which to ensure equality. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, fine.
That's my meme for the day.
Okay.
Okay, we have 3 more questions. Do you want to?
No, yeah, let's hit the 3 and then I'll dip.
All right. No, don't. Would you like to ask your question?
Sure. Let me know if the mic's fine.
Sounds good.
Okay. Are you an accelerationist? Do you believe that we should be supporting destabilizing current systems through questionable avenues such as the NRA? And if not, how do you equivocate this against your revolutionary ideals or your positions?
I'm a conditional accelerationist. I do not believe in the full fucking tilt, the full fucking forward headbutting against the wall. We need to make society as trash as possible because deep down everyone wants socialism, and if we could just make them see it, then they would all fucking explode and be socialist. That's not I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. However, I do believe that how do I say? I'm trying to phrase this properly. Accelerationism is tiered. Accelerationism is conditional. There are ways to ensure acceleration in certain regards without ensuring it in a full-blown bomb society sort of way. I support accelerationism in regards to I am excited about the capacity for global warming to force
progressive policy.
To force a progressive response. We will have but one choice. We will adapt and become more ecologically friendly, or we will die. Now, I'm not saying I'm, happy that all the fucking brown folk in Southeast Asia, where they're going to get the worst flooding, I'm not saying I'm happy about that, but I am happy that this opportunity has presented itself to us. I am happy when a shooting takes place, not because I am delighted to see the dead, deceased. I mourn the dead, and their death is a tragedy. But, as in the case with the New Zealand shooting, their death is but a pinprick compared to the broader harm caused by the same ideologies which led to their shooting. White nationalism, white supremacy, these things cause far more damage to society than they do through the shooters who act on those principles. When the shooters act and people die, we are given an opportunity to criticize the broader social system. In these respects, I am an accelerationist. That is my opinion on it. If I say any more, I'll get banned.
No. I understand that. My position would be that although things like, what happened in New Zealand and like Charlottesville are like quote unquote good for like moving the Overton window, good for pushing the ideas, it just never feels like anything changes. And it's like we're getting to the point with technology, with like nigger profiles where they're able to create what a person is and what they may do, predictive behavior, like with Facebook, advertising, things like this. The revolution becomes harder. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm explaining this really badly.
No, I completely
But
understand what you're saying.
we're moving into this area where at some point it's going to be almost impossible without destabilizing the hierarchies like completely.
No, I mean I completely agree. And that's why, and destabilization is in a sense very useful because well, obviously it's useful, but it's useful mostly in its respect that as institutions are built from the ground up, destabilization of the lower elements will affect the higher institutions most prominently. Just as our modern, extremely complicated global economy can be massively affected by a strike of just a dozen workers, so too can one tiny incidence of racial or political agitation cause an entire nation's media to buckle in line with a given set of values. Accelerationism may, in due course, become the only means by which we are able to affect any substantial social change. And that's not something I'm particularly happy about. But I am happy, if nothing else, that we still have our guns, and should things reach a breaking point, we still have the ability to force change.
Okay. I'll accept that one.
I don't have an I don't have a good answer for that one. That's like a full fucking problem right there. That's the, oh God.
I'll just take it.
Okay, moving on. High quality soup. Would you like to ask your question?
Yes, I will. Okay, so basically, I know absolutely very little about leftist theory. The only thing I know is like the first 3 chapters of The Conquest and Bread and Homage Catalonia. That's really it. So I'm pretty
not
naive
bad.
when I ask good book. Would recommend for anyone who hasn't read it. But my question is basically in a hypothetical socialist system, and I realize that this is like in a moneyless society, this wouldn't matter. But how would a tax system work? I'm not really concerned about what specific tax, but more around the moral justification for taxes. Because I really hate right-wing libertarians, but they do at least understand like state-sponsored violence, and it's just how do you justify taxes if there will be any taxes? Because okay, I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Go ahead.
It's fine. When we talk about, the idea of how taxes relate conceptually to, no, how do I phrase this properly? Taxes are complicated. On an ethical level. Obviously, the baseline argument is that if you have wealth, if you receive any kind of wealth, you are doing so while taking advantage of the benefits society has provided you. And it is only fair, then, that a portion of your income should go back to the state to ensure the propagation of these services for both yourself and for others in the future. This seems to be a pretty functional way of running a society. I mean, pretty much every society in modern history has had some form of taxation. Even fucking Jesus talked about it. Render unto Caesar. So we're talking with a pretty essential concept here, the propagation of the state through the wealth generated by the workers. What I struggle with on an ethical level, and hope that I have resolved, rationalized in my mind, is that how do I fuck. On an essential level, I do not want the worker to be deprived of their excess labor, because when that is done, it most often goes towards the individuals or the interests of those individuals, which do not benefit society but rather leech from it. Whereas the state has the capacity to benefit everyone. Even in a society by which the workers own the means of production, there are publicly run services which need to be maintained to ensure the beneficiary, which is everyone, can continue to use those services. So in that sense, and in the sense that you can't really contextualize how much a person should be taxed relative to the wealth they derive from their income, because that income is contingent upon the existence of the services which are provided for through taxes, I don't know. It's arbitrary. And I think it always has to be like policy driven in the immediate sense. I don't think there's like a hard fucking hot answer, you know? I don't think there's like an ethical amount. I just think that you have to advocate for policy that seems right at the time, and that's about all you can do.
Yeah, I mean, really, I'm not like a philosophy guy or anything. My justification is that a society without it is going to be way worse. Well, I mean, yeah, we need like a mail service. Like, for example, we just need these public services to exist for it to function. I'm just curious how you would justify it, because you obviously know more about this stuff than I do.
I mean, evidently not. It's fucking complicated. I have expressed the limit of my knowledge.
Way more than my knowledge. That's all.
I love you.
Same.
All right, last question. The Eternal American, would you like to ask your question?
Yeah, I was going to ask, since you're an anarchist, what institutions would largely take the place of, for example, of the state and anarchist society to fill those basics? There, courts, for example.
I think that
public peacekeeping and so forth.
I actually really. I like the way society works right now. I know that sounds a little bit cop-outy, and obviously our society has many problems, but in a broad sense, how we have like a separation of powers and like a justice system, and you've got like the courts, and you've got like police officers stuff. Broadly speaking, we've built a pretty stable society here. That's pretty objective, and this is important to me. Because I don't like these ideas that anarchy or anarchism or any of these post-capitalist ideological frameworks will necessarily involve the deconstruction of all of these institutions. There are some institutions that I think need immediate remediation, like the police, for example. But I still think that the function of the police needs to be served. There must be rules. We don't want people murdering and raping. And as much as some fucking anarcho-prims like to talk about how fucking social disinclination and being shunned from society are enough to disincline people from murdering, believe it or not, my friendos, my privileged little bitch boys, we need to jail some people. We need to jail or have executed some people. I'm sorry, some people is bad eggs. What are you gonna do? I don't want these fucking bad eggs walking the streets with me. Now, I want them to get rehabilitative services that treat them as humanely as fucking possible. That's my shit. But that is a far cry from the idea of eliminating jails or eliminating police as a concept. To me, if you're talking about an anarchic society, the goal is not to start with nothing and build institutions from that base. It is to take our institutions, to reflect upon who benefits from their organization and why, and then to start taking pieces out, like Jenga. You don't want to start from nothing, because we've spent hundreds and thousands of years working up towards our present situation, and that's cool. We have in many ways, a very great society going on right now. I'm not blind to that. But if we instead look at what we have now and carefully remove pieces that serve to do more harm than good, I think we will find ourselves in a much better position to address this transition.
Yeah, like the CIA or something.
Yeah, they'd be up there on the maybe don't keep sort of scale of things. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
We've got one more.
No, that was the end of it, actually.
Oh my god, I can't believe it! I did it. I'm so proud of me.
Yeah, went on for 2 hours.
Clappa. Before I dip off, I want to say that I enjoyed this very much. I really appreciate Chocolate Nova and Cliche Cat. I believe you two are the ones who are most responsible. Turd Ferguson as well. That the three of you are principally responsible for this organization and the organization of this AMA. I really appreciated it, and hopefully we could do something comparable in the future.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Take care. It was good meeting you, man.
It was nice to
Rip.
meet
Yeah.
See ya.
Yes, I enjoyed this tremendously. And please, again, to Chocolate Nova, Cliche Cat, and Turd Ferguson, if you're ever so interested, please feel free to contact me in the future. You know how to get me.
Absolutely. I'll see you in Twitch chat.
See you in Twitch chat.
Night, fellas.
Good night, fellas.
Good night.
Bye bye.